think it's an interesting question. It's more, or I understand the questions like, what do you like to bring most, or what do you like to bring, and which is the most important thing. I think the question for a sea kayaker is actually the other way around. You don't think about what you bring, you think about weeks in advance what you don't bring, and you look at your gear, which I think is pretty straightforward, like anything else with sea kayaking, and you have to bring your spare paddle, you have to bring this and that, but in the end of the day you want to bring as much as food possible. So it's about cutting down on gear. The question is not what can I bring, what should I bring.
When you go paddling, whether it be for a day or for an expedition, you've really got to give some thought about what clothing you're going to wear, and just to fit the environment you're paddling in. So I think we're all really aware these days of the layering system, starting off with quite a thin thermal, another thermal, nice, tend to go for the sort of long johns or bib and braces, fleece to go over the top, keeps the small of your back quite nice and warm, and it doesn't ride down or ride up, so it gives you sort of comfort across the small of the back. On top of that, probably go for another fleece. Nice thing about this is it's quite thin around your midriff, so there's not too many layers or thick layers around the middle. Okay, so now we come to the outer layer, the top layer really. This is the one that keeps the wind out and obviously the water. Tricky decision sometimes. It can be very warm up here, and you can actually be paddling when it's far too hot, so you need to strip down. However, probably in waters that are down to sort of 1-2 degrees C, so falling in, you know, and getting wet is not really an option. You know, you have to think about how do you dry your kit, how do you get you out. Being cold for that period of time really isn't something to contemplate. So we've decided, again, because we're on an extended trip, quite a long way from anywhere, to go for dry suits. Obviously, as the name implies, hopefully keep you dry. Obviously there's many varieties of dry suit. The essential features we've gone for is feet. So you've got waterproof socks sewn in. Again, because you're having to wade, we've got quite an easy landing here, but the majority of our landings have been quite awkward, where we're having to wade or actually clamber out on rocks. So you need to think about getting your feet wet, or not getting them wet, essentially. Next thing, yeah, because as Ollie said, we don't want to get too dehydrated, is a good old P-zip. Yeah, quite an essential feature. And then double cuffs on the sleeves, and double cuff on the neck, and this has an integrated hood as well. All side of it is the apron for the spray deck. So one last thing before you sort of go on the water, very important to do, is just to vent your suit. If it's full of air, and if you did go in, obviously all the air could go to your feet, and you could end up bobbing around up feet first. So literally just pull the neck seal out and just squeeze all that air out of the dry suit. When the risk of immersion in cold water isn't a factor, we could probably dispense with the dry suit and go for the second option, which is a sort of salopette and cag combination. These salopettes are ideal, nice and high, so they keep your kidneys and your lower back warm if you happen to be sitting in water. Looking down to the feet, some nice Gore-Tex socks, keep your feet nice and toasty inside a wetsuit boot. And then finally, more importantly, a P-zip, so nice and easy to alleviate yourself jumping in and out. So a really nice combination of a lower garment. To complement the salopettes, we have a sea cag. Again, it's nice because it's loose fitting, you can vent it nicely when it's warm. Equally, you can fasten it up if it gets cold, or if you experience waves or wind or rain. Key features are twin seal on the wrists to keep the wrists warm over the latex, twin seal on the trunk, goes in with your spray deck, and then on the hood, very important piece of kit. The nice thing about the hood is that you should be able to still look around you, so it should cut away nicely, so it doesn't impede your vision at all. And also big enough so you can get hats and things under it.
Having good kit on an expedition is essential. For me, it's just got to be kind of a good set of waterproofs. There's nothing worse than kind of getting wet and soaked through to the skin, and then if that's on day one of a 2-week or a 3-week expedition, you're just uncomfortable for the rest of the time. So kind of a good set of waterproofs which will kind of keep out the weather and keep you warm and dry.
Really, it's got to be a decent storm cag. I don't like being hot, so I paddle relatively cool. So if I stop, I get cold pretty quick. So a storm cag I can put straight on over the top, because I predominantly like to use 3 cags, short sleeve, long sleeve, and a storm cag. That's providing it's not in sort of Baltic conditions, and then I'd obviously use a dry suit. But the storm cag also, it's pretty good around the campsite, and you've got an emergency spray deck.